What's up, real MVPs? Ricky Widmer here, and welcome into a brand new edition, a Friday edition of MVP Sports Live. I was originally not supposed to be here, but Soapy had shit coming up, so you get Dave and I again today. So surprise, surprise, I am here. I am joined, as I always am, with my beautiful co-host, Dave Oster.
We back.
Dave, how you doing? How you doing on this Friday, Dave?
A little frantic on the Friday, so, busy. Got a lot going on, but you know what? Most of it's positive.
Dave's like, I also have a lot going on in the World of Warcraft, in the virtual world. So you might hear some clickies from Dave going on as he's trying to get ready for raid tonight. But still, Dave the multitasker is like, fuck it, I'm still doing a show.
We literally just talked for like half an hour, and yeah, I think you can tell that I can pay a little attention.
And today is all NBA. We're talking all NBA today. Little appetizer to start, some draft news that came out that's not the biggest of news, but I wanted to hit anyways because I'm a homer. And then we've got playoff basketball to talk about, playoff races, and then Dave and I are going to do a mini top 10 mock draft to kind of end this podcast. Before we get into everything, though, let's get the housekeeping out of the way. Number one, if you're not in the MVP Discord, you're doing yourself a disservice. It's the greatest community in the universe, and you can join it today for free. Link either down below on YouTube or !Discord into Twitch chat. Get you that link. Boom, click on it. You're in. If you don't have a Discord, you can create an account for free, and boom, you're talking to us. You're talking to all the people from the MVP universe. That's what I'm calling it, Dave. It's the not the MCU, because that already exists. Plus, we're not a cinematic universe. The MDU, the MVP Discord universe? Is that what we talk? I don't know. Or just the MVPU, the MVP universe, but that just sounds bored. It sounds like you got to have a middle letter. We'll workshop that one for you guys later. If you want to support us, patreon.com/MVPvids is how you go ahead and do that. You can also throw us a sub on Twitch and get rewarded for it. Last but not least, we're on Twitch Monday through Friday, twitch.tv/MVPvids. We're also on YouTube at MVP Sports. And Dave, first thing we are talking about today, it's a little shorty, but it's a goodie in my... Well, I don't even know if it's a goodie, because for me, this news broke yesterday. I did not see it on Twitter until this morning. And it was one of those things, I'm waking up, I'm doing this, wiping my eyes. I open my phone and I go, wait, what? And I see a tweet from one of the Illini sites that I follow, and I'm like, uh-oh. It's a picture of Giorgi and then a lot of text on the side. I'm like, he's entering the transfer portal. We're losing another one. What's going on? And then I'm reading it and I see declare for the NBA draft and I go, huh. Yeah. I'm like, okay, I get it. Why not? I
can tell you why not.
If you can throw your throw your name in there. If someone likes you along the process, maybe you get drafted in the second round. But this to me, Dave, even me as an Illini fan, Giorgi going into the NBA draft process now, I'm a little puzzled by this. And most people, even articles that I've read, are starting to say that they're completely disregarding the NBA draft process and just saying, oh, well, he's just going to play overseas closer to home because he's originally from Georgia.
Yeah, I mean, is this a situation where, and again, let me just clarify, did he have an agent signed?
I do not think so.
Testing the waters, because there's a difference. Everyone, I think if you're, someone who has NBA aspirations, there's no cost to go ahead and test the waters. Go talk to NBA scouts, go talk to teams and be like, hey, love to play in the NBA. What can I do to get there? And you get that free feedback. You get that professional, respect, and you can start building those connections. So I have no problem with that, but I'm sorry, he is not in my top 60. He's not in my top 80. He may not be in my top 100. So again, like you said, I don't know where this came from. Was this something that you had seen, or was there a reason why? Do you see him as just wanting an option out because of where Illinois might fall off to after the season?
I'll be honest, I have no idea. I'm looking at the 24/7 article they wrote about it. And they even say, after Illinois basketball's final game of the season, Giorgi walked out onto the court and took a look at State Farm Center. The junior big man took a few minutes, seemingly taking in the atmosphere, before turning around and smiling at the media without saying a word. A rarity for the they say the Georgiarius native
Gregarious.
of the Republic of Georgia. Apparently, it was a goodbye after all, as he announced on Instagram that he was leaving Illinois. To me, this was a shock because, I mean, I always assumed to where it was like, okay, Giorgi's going to be back. He's a key piece to us next year. I've already hit the I'm hovering over the panic button as an Illini fan, Dave, because I know there's a lot of things that we have to do. Maybe get some recruits in here, maybe hit the transfer portal, see if there's a guy from UMass that may be out there that we can swing in. But I am hovering over the transfer or over the panic button, but that is a different story for a different day. I was kind of shocked because although in the Discord, Dave, I said today, don't pass over Giorgi. I feel like NBA teams should give him his fair look because at Illinois, I have liked what he's been able to do off the bench, being a big man that could back up Kofi Coburn this season, rebounding, getting some points down low. Now, is he going to be someone that's in the NBA right away? Probably not. I realize that. Like, if he's a second rounder, he may be someone that's like, he'll definitely be in the G League year one. There's no way he's on an NBA roster. But to me, the question is, how long would he have to be in the G League to then get the development that you need? To me, I'm seeing this, and it's like, it's almost like what everyone else is saying, to where it's like, well, of course you're going to test the draft waters, but then after you don't go drafted, you're not going to go back to college. You're going to play overseas somewhere. And yet again, what does this story then tell? Is it going to be, well, you know, Giorgi was a great Illini player. Now he's playing overseas like the Brandon Pauls of the world. Or, hey, I'm going to play overseas. I'm going to develop a little more. And maybe I tried the NBA again, but as a free agent, because I already went through the process once.
I see. So that one actually,
because once you go through the draft process, you can't re-enter a draft, right?
Correct. Once you've been eligible, Yep. So I mean that is fair. Like, we could see him go to Europe, get serious minutes, and then come back to the NBA as a free agent potentially down the road if he earns his way in. I think that's potential case scenario. I don't love anything about this, to be honest, but if we're going to try to paint this way as a, like, here we go, that's the only upside I've got for you, because we just watched Mfindu Kabajali come through and be dropped from another team, get picked up, get dropped, get picked up, and he's someone who had a polished skill set in college. And no offense to Giorgi, but like, he is not anywhere as good as Mfindu was coming out of college. So I wonder, you know, where is the hope, but like, who's the person whispering to this person, this is all right, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, the guys that he's going to be, and yet again, I'm looking at 4s and 5s in the NBA draft process, the guys that I feel like, because yet again, with me, and I'm an Illinois fan, I'm saying a big if he gets drafted in the second round, it ain't going to be top of the second round. It'll probably be 50 through 60. Is probably where he gets drafted, more 55 through 60, for being honest.
Would have to assume, yeah. So,
like, guys we're looking at are like, and yet again, I'm just going off of the big boards that people have. So, like, Luka Garza, Tracy Jackson Davis, Charles Bassey, Oscar da Silva, Baji from Barcelona, Isaiah Todd from the G League, Robinson Earl Villanova.
His name is down there. I know it's not your opinion. I'm just gonna.
McCure Maker out of Howard, and then I'm gonna screw up his name. Amar Sila out of Olsendi.
I'm not even going to guess. I recognize the name. Yeah. I don't know the correct pronunciation.
Like, that is the 52 through 74 on the big board for Tankathon. And yet again, there's most of those guys that I would probably take over Giorgi if I'm an NBA team.
Yeah. I mean, again, I just don't think it's. I think it's much to do with nothing.
Yeah. But Dave, moving on into the real, we got 2 big meat and potatoes. I just wanted to touch that because, hey, it was some draft news. All the other shit for the draft is like X player declares, X declares. It's like, okay, knew that was going to happen. None of these knew they were going to happen.
I haven't seen anything that's not.
First thing let's dive into before we get into the big thing of the title of this podcast is the NBA playoff race. So I looked at the Bulls schedule for the number. Some teams might have a little more, some might have a little less, but it's a roundabout number of about 22 games left for the NBA season before we get to the playoffs. So I thought, let's look at the playoff races right now. The who's going to get in the play-in tournament area, and what we can see with that, because the tops seem to be solidifying. Let's start with the East, because this is the easier conversation in my mind, where right now we have how it lays out is Boston is 7. If we're using the 8th place team as like the even line for like that's the number to get in, they are +1.
Side, but
yeah, so they're +1, meaning they're a game ahead of the Knicks, who are at 8. Then after 8, the Pacers are a game back, the Bulls are 2 back, the Raptors are then 5 back, Cavs are at 5.5 back. In your mind, Dave, for me, I'm looking at this and I'm kind of going, we may have this solidified in the East. It may just be Celtics, Knicks, Pacers, Bulls, possibly Raptors, but is there any hope for either the Raptors or the Cavs 5 and 5.5 games back of the New York Knicks? Really, they're about 3 and 3.5 back of the play-in tournament of the Bulls.
I may surprise here. I don't think they are too far out. We've seen teams go on runs. I mean, the Bulls literally heater run, streak of losses. This is not unheard of. So I think it's almost a situation where I understand the talent that's out there, and I understand why these teams have the records due to COVID issues, due to players with injuries, due to where the season's at and trades. Maybe I'm not putting a cap on any of these teams potentially making the playoffs, because I'm looking at them just kind of going like, could I see them make a run? Yeah. I mean, I could see the Bulls lose 6 in a row. All of our games are winnable.
Hey, right now we're on a little bit of a heater, Dave. A little bit of a heater playing Atlanta tonight.
Yeah, but remember, right before that heater, what was it? Loss, trade for Vucevic, loss.
We were on cloud 9, and then we lost with Vuce a couple times. And it was like, oh, maybe that trade was a bust. And it was like, stop it. Roll up the paper and just hit that fan in the head.
People were like, yep, bust. I'm like, Levine's hurt. Give him time.
He played hurt in one of those games, too.
Hurt his ankle, then played hurt because he's a trooper. I don't know. I think that I think we're at a point where the East is such a clusterfuck in the middle. I told you, this will come down to the final game of the year. I can't wait for it. I don't think any of these teams are out.
I mean, and I'm pulling up the actual standing so I can see above it. The thing for me that makes the East interesting is the teams that are in the playoffs right now, the 7 and 8. The Celtics are a clusterfuck. Dave, I look at some games and even me as a betting man, I look at it and I go, so what Celtic team am I going to see today?
Exactly.
They should beat this team by 8, but will they beat this team by 8? It's what's going to happen? And then New York, I think it was Anthony Edwards who said in an interview recently that the Knicks are to him the best defensive team in the NBA. But that only carries you so far when Julius Randle's doing everything he can to keep your team afloat. RJ Barrett, sometimes he has a great offensive game. Other games he's not. He's having 12, 15 points, which you don't want on RJ.
That's the guy we want taking the last shot. I mean, that man.
Let him take it all day.
Deliver gems. Anthony Edwards in front of every night, please.
But even above the Nets, you have the Heat, Hawks, and Hornets all tied record-wise, percentage-wise. They're all 9 games back of the Brooklyn Nets. That's only a game above where the Celtics are at 7.
Yeah, so wild. I know the Hawks are in a situation where they're still missing guys, so it's kind of...
for example, John Collins, Hunter, and Reddish are out tonight. Maybe Danilo and Capella might be out tonight against the Bulls also. They're questionable.
Yeah, so there's just... I don't think you can... There is no fortune prediction on this show. I don't know that anyone can confidently say these are the teams that are going to make it. But the Hawks do have all of the talent. That's never been the problem with this team this year. There was poor coaching to start the season, and then poor teamwork, poor consistency on the court. And because they've had these injuries cycling through their team, literally had Rondo on the team who didn't play, more than a handful of games before he was traded because he was just out hurt. Chris Dunn, that doesn't even exist. Like you just look at this roster and you go, that should be a top 4 team, maybe if everything clicks. Now, funny enough, I think they're in 4th right now, or 5th.
Which team? The Hornets?
Hawks.
The Hawks are 5th. So Hornets are 4th, Hawks are 5th.
I don't buy the Hornets. I'm sorry. Like the injuries.
They're staying afloat.
Hayward's out now, right?
Yeah, Hayward is out. And I mean, here's the thing, though. They're running into
Daniels, though.
I mean,
Dave's
like, take the victory lap, Dave. Just take it.
I will continue the victory laps because everyone wanted to shit on these fucking young McDaniels. And I was like, no, they're both absolutely gushing with potential. You should not pass this up. Both of them fell way too fucking far. And now you're seeing it at the next level where they're just delivering. It's like, dude. So, yeah.
I mean, the thing with the Hornets, though, is like I was going to say, they're running into lucky situations to where, like, tonight they play the Bucks, okay? But Giannis is out. Giannis and Drew are out. So it's like, unless Chris Mid goes off, like, you still got Scary Terry out there that can score. You still got Devonta Graham who can score. Like, this team, if they run into more games like tonight, even with Hayward being out, like, I think the Hornets could stay afloat to where I don't know if I say they're a lock at 4, but I don't think they'll fall all the way out of the playoffs.
Yeah, it's tough to fall. Like, it's a lot to fall, but I think. I mean, it's only
3 games. Really, it's only 3 games.
If there's anyone I'm confident of falling, it is the Hornets without LaMelo Ball, Hayward. Yeah. I'm sorry, I love this young team, but
there's only one matchup I really want to see in that play-in tournament, Dave.
Yeah,
give me Chicago, Boston. Give me Celtics, Bulls in the play-in tournament, because Dave, there's one team we give a run in the playoffs. Who is it?
Now that's a series. That is a series right there that would pop off so hard.
And I mean, it wouldn't in the play-in. It would just be a game. It'd be the winner-take-all game.
True. We only have one game. I don't know. See, that almost concerns me.
Because if they're doing it the same as last year, it would be, so the Bulls would be 10, Celtics would be 7. If the Bulls beat the Celtics would then have to play the winner of Knicks Pacers, and then the winner of that team would play us to decide the seeding order. I think is how they would do it. Which, I mean, fucking, like, just give me Bulls Celtics, even if it's for a game. But kind of flipping over the West. To me, the West is a little bit more, like, it's different than the East in the sense of I'm more confident in the teams between 4 and 6. I don't think the Lakers or the Blazers or even the Mavericks kind of fall, even though the Mavericks are like
be in the playoff.
Yeah. But out of the teams, like, you got actually Dallas is at 7. They're 9.5 back. You've got they're 2 games plus 2 ahead of the Memphis Grizzlies. Then it's the Spurs are 2 back. The Warriors are 3 back. The Pelicans are 5 back, and then the Kings are 5.5 back. What's your thinking about the West, and is it more difficult than the East? Is it easier than the East?
I can just say that the teams are better in the West. Like, that's no one's gonna,
unless you're watching Pelican basketball right now.
That is such a fucking bad basketball team, Ricky. I can't believe.
I get Zion and BI have been injured for some games. They haven't played some and have played others, but yeah, that's a team that's kind of on the downcline in recent games.
Might have picked the wrong coach. We might have actually talked about that during the offseason when they signed this coach and been like, the fuck are you thinking?
I think I was high on him, though. I think I was high on that hire. I think I was on the other side. I might have been wrong, Dave.
Big thanks to you, Ricky. Let's go old school basketball.
I mean, rotations. Sorry. Like, isn't that the problem? Rotations?
Those are also a problem, yeah. But, I mean, it's just... That's a disappointing team that everybody thought was going to take the next step this year. And Lonzo Ball has. Zion has. But they unfortunately decided they're going different directions. So, hey, it is what it is. But, yeah, like, I think the big question in the West is really just the game of, like, how far do the Lakers fall? And then do we see a little bit of match fixing to avoid said Lakers, assuming they're healthy in the playoffs? We saw it happen last year. We saw teams jockey for position come playoff time because you do have kind of the unofficial way to do it. You know where teams are at. You know who's playing who. And you got to give guys rest every once in a while, right, guys? Right? Everybody's got to rest.
Everyone's got it. I mean, LeBron and AD, if they're staying afloat at 5, hey, we're healthy, but hey, it's a week out of the playoffs. Let's just come back for the last 2 guys. Last 2 games, we'll be fine for round 1, right?
I mean, the main thing is you want to make sure everybody's healthy. And if you don't happen to match up against the Lakers in the first round, you're probably doing okay. If you're sitting there at 4 and you're like, well, that 4 or 5 matchup would suck. Or are they going to push to 3, which ain't going to happen?
It would be.
But it's more likely that the Lakers fall down. So I'm like, if I'm anyway, I'm like, I am watching out for that Lakers team to fall.
Could you imagine? So right now, the Laker first round matchup, if the playoffs started today, would be Lakers-Denver, Denver with home court advantage.
Oh.
Rematch of last year's Western Conference Finals. And if they fell a spot, Dave, they're playing the Clippers round 1.
Honest answer, I would be terrified if I were the Lakers on either side of that.
Yeah.
I mean, assuming they get 100% clean bill of health on both LeBron and AD, I guess I'd feel better. But if they're 80%,
yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, the things that this Nugget team has that it didn't have last year, AG has AG now, and Michael Porter Jr. playing a lot better basketball than he was last year.
He's not 7 foot. He's a 6'10" Klay Thompson.
It's almost like I said the Clippers should have used their picks that year to trade up for him rather than taking Jerome Robinson, who got waived this week.
Yeah, well.
Not by the Clippers, but got waived.
Yeah, about that, it is what it is. You can't go backwards here. Once you hit something, you got Shea. Turns out you should have just stuck there and ding ding and been one of the greatest drafts of all time.
Yeah.
No, I think that the Nuggets are a team that should not be trifled with. So, yeah, I think teams are going to jockey, but I don't see a big shakeup happening over there, really. I think it's pretty clear-cut, like you said, 1 through 7. It seems like those teams are locked to make the playoffs in some regard. I do think the bottom section's a little dicey.
The only change I see in the bottom half, I agree with Eric, where he says the West race is tougher to climb in the playoff race. There's one team that if there's going to be a climber, I feel like it'll be them, the Sacramento Kings. Because they're a team recently, in the recent games, they've kind of been hot and cold. There was a while, though, they were fucking razor hot. De'Aaron Fox was scoring 30 points a game for a while. I was feeling good about this Kings team. And if the Pelicans continue to fall, and the Spurs of late have backed up a little bit. Now, yet again, is that just they're playing teams like the Nuggets, who, yes, they'll stay close until the 4th. My parlay will be so close, Dave, getting $72, and then the fucking Nuggets will blow them out by 20 in the 4th quarter to screw that over. Do we see a Spur King flop? Because, with the Warriors, as long as Steph is healthy, they're in the play-in tournament. Unless I'm wrong. He will carry that team to the play-in tournament alone.
I don't know, man.
Notice when he came back, how much better that the Warriors were on a losing streak.
How bad they are without him. Turns out point guard is an important position. Turns out the greatest point guard of all time is a pretty okay player.
Yeah.
I think, but I don't know that. I think the Kings are interesting right now.
Mm-hmm.
De'Aaron has been playing really well, and I think that kind of is going under the radar for a lot of people. I wonder if they're going to be able to make a late run on this season. That's the only team on the outside I could see trying to make a push. Really, I think the Pelicans have zero chance, if I'm being realistic. So, yeah, the West just feels more locked up. You're right.
I'm trying to find the one. So our buddy Jake had an amazing tweet.
Oh, did he now?
The NBA. It wasn't his tweet, but it was a tweet with Steph Curry in it. And it was an analytical thing to where it was the carry job that he's been doing. That's I think it's their offense without Steph out there ranks there's only 2 teams I think that are worse than them. When he's out there, they're not only top 10, they're the 7th best offense in the league. With one player alone. And it was the whole point of it was that obviously look at the carry job.
Oh, it's him and Wiseman together are awful. they're one of the historically worst offenses in basketball, which is a weird.
So are you saying they made the wrong pick, Dave? They shouldn't have went.
I mean, am I saying if LaMelo Ball were on the Warriors, they would be in a better position, and he might not be hurt today? Yes, I am saying that.
What? Oh, I can't. They wouldn't have gotten Ant went before them.
Yeah,
what if they had Patty Will?
I mean, I think that you would have seen Oubre traded already,
like very soon,
110%,
very soon. Last thing I'll ask you with the West is with the East. There was kind of like I could see this changing, but we didn't really say there was going to be a change much. In the West, is there going to be a change, or are the Spurs and Warriors going to be the play-in challengers to Memphis and Dallas?
I think the Warriors are more likely than the Spurs. I don't know. I have a hard time trusting the Spurs team. I like a lot of their youth, but like I just don't know that they're going to hold out. I don't know. I just got a hunch. Maybe I'm a hater, but I like their team, but I don't think they're going to be the better team at the end of the year.
I think it's going to stay pat. Like, part of me wants to say the Spurs will fall out because, like I said, if Steph can stay healthy, he will will the team to the play-in tournament. Will they make the actual playoffs? Probably not. Or maybe if they have like a good game against Memphis, and then like let's say the Spurs beat Dallas, like it's a game of chance in that play-in tournament, which is why some people don't like it. But we'll have to wait and see on that. Dave,
I want the ultimate best of threes. Bring back the first round best of three.
I get why they changed it, but it's like the best of three was so fun.
Best of sevens, but like I think for the play-in tournament, instead of a one-game random luck of the draw, I like best of three. Although the baseball thing, like in baseball, I love the idea that it's a one game.
How about this? And this is what I would change. So you have your two things. You have 7-10, and then you have 8. Eliminate the double elimination. Have it to where that first game is a single game. It's a single game. And then the winner of those two, all right, now you're playing for seeding. It's a best of 3. It's a best of 3 for the seeding, a single game to get in, or flip it. Best of 3 to get in, single game for the seeding.
Maybe that. I don't like the idea of fighting for seeding. Like, I feel like seeding is earned during the regular season. And, like, then this way it's like you might have got there, but, like, are you actually that good?
So you're just saying 2 best of 3s record decides your seed.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. I want that 8, 10, 9, no, 7, 10, 9, 8 match. And then record decides.
Yeah, so if the 8th and the 10th team win, the 8th team becomes the 7th seed and the 10th becomes, Yeah, and Tim says seeding is earned through courting. That's what he said. Don't know what that really means, but we're going to go with it, Tim. Dave, the last thing we're going to do on the podcast, and this is going to be the main meat and potatoes. It's the main subject of the podcast. I decided today, I was like, it'd be fun to do a mini mock where we haven't really talked about a mock draft in what seems like forever. And yet again, part of that went into when was the draft going to be? For the longest time, everyone just assumed, it's going to be, 8 days after Dave's birthday in November. And we're going to have a November draft again. And the NBA recently said no.
Wouldn't be sad.
Dave's like, happy birthday to me, big guy. So here's what I did. I went on Tankathon earlier today. I hit the sim button 10 times. Whatever the order was, that was the order. And then I said to myself, all right, what we are going to do is on the spot. I didn't even it wasn't even a thing of where I memorized the order. I just closed it right away and said, okay, Dave and I will have fun with this later. So the order is already predetermined. Okay. I'm changing colors on my tablet so that we both have our own thing. Here's the order. Here's the thing. Because no one knows the order yet except for me because I'm looking at it. Do you want to go one by one through the order, or do you want to know all 10 before we do it?
I mean, if we're not doing trades, I'm cool with just the suspense of one by one.
Okay, we'll do one by one. So, Dave, the first overall pick. They keep their pick. 1 through 3 protected. The Minnesota Timberwolves are on the clock. Who are they going with? Is it slap the wall time without slapping the wall? Or is there a difference?
No, 100%. It is 100% Cade Cunningham.
Okay.
They can't afford to not take Cade Cunningham here. I mean, does it fit the team? No. Do I care? Not even a little.
Should D'Angelo Russell be moved because Cade's coming in?
D'Angelo should be traded regardless of Cade's situation.
Oh, Dave's like, get him out of here.
It's not a great fit on that team, and I think that it's been proven. So I'm excited for the Cade Cunningham.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say this out, Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns, Malik Beasley, Ricky Rubio era up there in Minnesota. And most of all, McDaniel.
Now, here's a question I do have. Mm-hmm. And yet again, this is going to come into, I am spoiling a little bit a mock draft that I'm working on. But I was talking to our buddy Jake, and I asked him if the Thunder got the first overall pick, is there even a 20% chance that they go with anyone other than Cade? And if it is Evan Mobley, because of their situation with Shea, Dort, Baisley, Teo Maledon, is there any team out there to where it ain't Cade number one, or is this a Zion situation?
A Zion situation.
Okay.
Whether you like it or not, he is the best available player for a lot of people. So I think that there's too much there to pass up on for every team.
Yeah, I mean, with me and the T-Wolves, I was going to go Cade anyways, because for them, I feel bad for the Timberwolves because it's just BPA. BPA.
Why is that a bad thing?
I feel bad because they're always they are what Mark.
And you won't have to do this.
I get that. I agree, but I feel like they fall into the trap that Mark would always talk about in the NFL. Where he would always say, if you're taking quarterbacks every 2 years in the top 5, you're never going to get better. And it seems like the T-Wolves are always that team where it's we're just going to take BPA in the top 5, and it's they still can't get out of the top 5. So it's wow, you'll get the number 1 overall pick. Is this going to help you get into the playoffs? The last time you made the playoffs, you had Jimmy Butler, and you scared him away because your team was bad and your team was unmotivated, and Jimmy don't like that. Jimmy went to somewhere where he did like that for a little bit, and then he didn't like that, and he went down to South Beach, where most players do when they get upset, Dave. They just go to South Beach. That's where you go. You go to Pat Riley. Uncle Pat will make things a lot better. But, yeah, the easy pick, Cade Cunningham, number 1. Things get interesting at 2, Dave.
Do they?
Motown. Who are the Pistons going with at 2? Cade would have been perfect. Is this a Mobley pick? Is this a JG4 pick?
How many times do I have to say this? JG4 is absolutely the second overall pick. Mm-hmm. I do have to call for Mark, though, unfortunately. Okay. JG4, I've harped on him enough time.
Yeah. I mean, with the Pistons, to me, I will kind of talk away while Dave is taking his work call. So the Pistons in mine are going to be outside, obviously, the top 3, to where I know that Dave and Soapy talked about this they talked about this on Wednesday. So if you have not checked it out, if you're on YouTube right now, if you're on Twitch, go over to our YouTube channel, and you can check out them talk about the Pistons draft in full. I think the one thing with the Pistons is they need a top 3 pick, maybe top 4. I'll say that they need to keep a top 4 pick, because in my mind, they need either Cade Cunningham, JG4, Jalen Suggs, or even, they need the choice of, Evan Mobley could be the one that falls out for them, because, you got Jeremy Grant as your ball handling 4. You already have Plumlee. Let me see. Plumlee, and I know Beef Stew. Soapy will get mad if I don't mention Beef Stew, Isaiah Stewart, for this team. But, to me, they need to go ahead and at least have a top 3 to grab either Cade, Suggs, or JG4. Not necessarily in that order, because after this year, the contracts that they will have left is, so Corey Joseph has a non-guaranteed next year, so they could keep him around for $12.6 million, or they could just waive him and say, you know what, get out of here. They do have Killian Hayes, who is the point guard of the future. That's why you drafted him last year. Shooting guard wise, the only ones that are leaving, Hamidou Diallo's not leaving. He's an RFA. They're probably going to pay him. Wayne Ellington's the only one for the shooting guards that's unrestricted. Sekou and Davidas Servidis are at the 3. Let's be honest. Casey hates Sekou Demboya. He hates him. Like, he doesn't get enough time. Soapy's even said, why isn't Sekou getting more minutes on the court? And then obviously you've got Plumlee under contract after this year. You've got Grant under contract, and you still have Ja and Beef Stew, Isaiah Stewart under contract as well. So, like, Eric, I almost agree with you where this situation because I agree with Dave, JG4 would be my pick, to where I feel like the two best prospects for the Pistons would be I would say three. There's three prospects I would like on the Pistons. One would be Jalen Suggs. The other one would be Jalen Green. And yet again, this is not like big board order. I'm just throwing out names as they come to my mind. I say, obviously, JG4 would be number one. Eric, as you say in Twitch chat, they need a shooting guard. You could then have your future of Killian Hayes and JG4 be your backcourt into the future. Jeremy Grant right now is your 4 of the future. And next year's lineup would pretty much look like Hayes at the 1, Green at the 2, fill in a 3, maybe it's Hamidou, maybe it's Sekou, fill it in with whatever you want. You also have free agency to work with. Jeremy Grant, I forgot about Sadiq Bey. Sadiq Bey at the 3, Grant at the 4, Plumlee at the 5, with Isaiah Stewart and hopefully Sekou. Hopefully he gets more playing time, unless it's just one of those things where Casey just cannot stand him. Suggs would also, I feel like Suggs would also be a good pick for them, because let's say they miss out in JG. Let's say they're 3, and Cunningham and JG4 go with 1, 2. Suggs I would like because you can fit him next to Killian Hayes. Had to think about that for a second. You can fit him next to Killian Hayes. But then also, if let's say like what happened this year happens again next year, let's say Killian Hayes gets injured. Let's say he is out of commission for some time. You can then have it to where it's like, okay, we then move Suggs to the 1, move Bey up to the 2. Hamidou then maybe becomes a starter, to where you can have a little bit more flexibility is what I'm going to say there. I'm just talking prospects. I'm basically doing what you and Soapy did on Wednesday, Dave. I hyped that up as well. But I agree. To get you along, I agree with Jalen Green. But the one point I was making and kind of ranting about is I feel like the Pistons need at least a top 3 pick. They need Cade, JG4, Jalen Suggs. That would be my top 3 for the Pistons.
Mobley's not in your...
Here's the thing. Yeah. Mobley's BPA, but when you look at their, what's more important for you? And yet again, you and Soaps hit this a little bit on Wednesday. I was not in that conversation. You have Grant and Plumlee under contract. You have Ja and Stewart under contract. Is Stewart the big of the future? Is Plumlee your center for right now? And then Grant at the 4. What's more important, to have a guy like Mobley, or if you can't get JG4, to have a guy you can pair with Killian and Suggs, and if Killian goes down, you can move Suggs to the 1, Bey to the 2, Hamidou then comes in and starts at the 3. There's also free agency. I don't know if they're going to sign a 3 in free agency because, Casey doesn't want to play Sekou.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Sekou sometimes doesn't want to play either, unfortunately. Yeah. It looks that way on the court. But no, I think that a lot of this comes down to the fact that I would not pass up. I would say I would not say that if they landed 4, it would be dire, because I think that if somehow Mobley was available at 4, not only would they get one of the highest upside prospects in this class, but they could also consider trade options.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I probably wouldn't. I mean, who knows what's on the market for a trade for the number 4 overall pick this year? But I think Mobley would be their ideal future 5. He 4, tweener. He a little bit both. No way am I patching up on someone that good.
Yeah.
Or the idea that Plumlee and Beef Stew are there.
I agree.
Nope.
The thing that I'm thinking about, and yet again, will this happen? Probably not, but you never know. There's a possibility right now that they could fall to 5, they could fall to 6 or 7. Those are the dire situations to where, if you're going from talking about any of the top 5, to then, okay, are we going Moses Moody, Jalen Johnson, Scotty Barnes, Franz Wagner? That's like an, oh shit, maybe the Pistons tried to trade up to get back into the top 5? Or just stay put and like deal with what they've got?
I don't know if they're under any rush to do it. They have an amazing value right now with Grant. Yes, people are like, oh, you paid too much. No, we didn't. Like, they paid exactly how much they need to pay to get someone who is as good as he is. And I think he's exceeded a lot of people's expectations. So I think him as your central piece, as the guy who is ready now, does not hurt you. No one else on the team is ready to win now. So, take your time with this roster. There's no need to try to push forward. This is like, again, I hate that everything is a Bulls count, but it's like the Zach LaVine year 1 thing. Like, I ain't in a rush. And Zach is younger, obviously, but
just signed Jeremy Grant. Like, you don't have it to where he's up in 2 years. It's funny that you bring up the Bulls, Dave. We're keeping our pick in this mock. We got the 3rd overall pick.
Oh, yeah?
Who do the Bulls take at 3 if Cade and JG are the only ones off the board? Because to me, this is interesting because A, we lose next year's pick now because we'll keep this one in this draft. And I didn't expect to keep it when I hit the lottery and we ended up 4. Magic will be mad about it, but if the Bulls are at 3, who are they taking?
I mean, how is it not Suggs? Like, that is
right. There's a part of me that goes. There was a part of me that said, "Does either of us go with Evan Mobley? Do either of us grab it?" I was like, "Ooh, is Dave gonna go BPA and go Mobley, and I'm gonna be the one to take Suggs because we ain't getting a point guard next year, that's for sure."
As a Bulls fan, how could you? This is again when BPA and player need or role need
kind of match up
are close enough. Like, you can play that game a little bit. We're in that position where we are literally a point guard away from being a top 4 team in the East, potentially top 5. I mean, this year you could say we could be 4 if we had Jalen Suggs playing in the NBA right now. Like, that's how bad we need a fucking point guard. So no, I get it. If you have Evan Mobley that far ahead of Suggs, I understand. Then you don't do it. But in my mind, they are very close. And I think with this Bulls team, what we need is a Jalen Suggs right now. I think Evan Mobley would be a great prospect. I think he could turn out great. But I don't think there's a big enough difference between both of them that I would pass up on the positional opening.
The only thing with Evan Mobley that throws in the questions is, number one, with Lauri Markkanen, because now that we have Vucevic, and because Thad Young seems to be better right now, I would be shocked if Lauri Markkanen got the 18 million, 20 million that was rumored before the season.
I mean, you heard Billy D talk. He's called him a role player.
Yeah.
Even Kobe White, role players.
Yeah. Like, he ain't getting no 20 million from the Bulls. That's like
honesty there. He is not a $20 million player. Not for the Bulls. Now, will another team throw him that money? Potentially.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, the thing though with Eric, and this is why, to me, the debate would be Mobley or Suggs. And with Mobley, though, it would be we'd be passing up on need for yet the umpteenth year in a row. Which, tell me how many times it's been like, I feel like the Bulls for the longest time, like I feel like since the Denzel Valentine draft, Dave, we've been saying like
2 years ago.
What?
We took Kobe White 2 years ago. Now, were there some people saying that he is a shooting guard, not a point guard?
Yeah.
I think some people. Kobe White.
He was a scoring guard.
He lacks facilitating qualities. I don't know.
I'm saying, let's put it this way:
they tried to hit that.
They tried, but is it not true that like pretty much since the Denzel draft, we've been wishing like, oh man, this point guard here for the Bulls, they'd be really good. They'd be really good. Let's get a point guard in here, Dave.
How many years did I mock a point guard of the Magic till they finally got one?
And that wasn't even the one you wanted. Cole Anthony was like, Dave, I'm not high on that one. So Dave was saying.
Poor choice. But you know what? It'll all work out.
They traded for the guy that you like, though, the redemption story that you like.
We're still redeeming.
Yeah, we're still redeeming. It's still going to come. I would love Evan Mobley with Vucevic. Yet again, would it be what Eric said? Would Mobley then be at the 5 and then Vucevic would be a stretch 4? Or would it be the opposite of Vucevic's at the 5, Mobley's at the 4, because then Mobley can come up and fucking screen for Zach and shit?
I mean, they both can screen. It's for me, it's the lateral speed. Like Vucevic just don't have it, so you got to put Mobley out there on the outside, and I think he can, and I think he would play well. I think he again gives you that Chris Bosh vibe, gives you a little bit of like a less defensive gifted Anthony Davis. Like there's a lot.
His defense is still pretty good though.
It's good. It's not. I'm sorry. Anthony Davis won national championship. Scoring
that's why Anthony Davis was the de facto overall #1 pick though.
He literally that national champion could not get the ball in the bucket. He couldn't do it. But they still because he just played the most smothering, dominating defense I think I've ever seen outside of this Baylor game that just happened.
Like there's a part of me that goes, could you imagine the defense out there at Mobley at the 4, Paul at the 3? And Vucevic is no slouch defensively, but
no. See what you do here is you put Paul at the 2, you put Mobley at the 3, and goddamn
Thad Young out there.
Like, or just slime well down and put that at the 5. Like, you get the point. Like, that is a disgusting package of defense. It's just like,
Jesus Christ.
I mean, we don't got Kawhi and Paul George, but good fucking luck anyway. Like,
Dave, I think the next pick, you and I are going to agree again. This has been a boring mock, by the way.
Yeah, we're top of this draft. I think a lot of people see it the exact same way.
Yeah, I mean,
right now, I guarantee you someone is going to fucking rise.
Yeah. The Magic are next. So the Bulls keep their pick at 3. The Magic are then at 4. The Magic are then sitting like shit. We were like 1 away from being 4-5, having 2 picks in this draft. Why couldn't we get it? But with Cade, JG4, and Suggs off the board, is Mobley a Magic? Is it just BPA, Mobley's a Magic?
Yeah. Long boy, Magic. I mean, is it ideal that you now have 3 guys who are 7-footers? No. No, it is not. But guess what? You don't pass up on Mobley. I don't care what Mo Bamba's shown you in 10 games.
I was going to say, we're pushing Mo back down.
I don't care what Wendell Carter Jr. has done because he'll get hurt again.
Yeah.
Like, you just got to fucking play with what you got. So I think that this is, again, would you dare trade back if you were the Magic and be like, dude, we can really, like, they have a good amount of draft capital because of their trades this year. They could really stockpile picks in like an insane rate if they decide to trade back on this, because I think there would be an insane value. Like if somebody was like, we love this kid, we can't believe someone's dumb enough to let him fall all the way down to 4. Like, could you trade out of the spot if you're the Magic?
And the reason why is I will say this. So here's what I want to do. Let's put a dog ear in this. Because we need to know the next 2 picks before I answer this question. The Thunder are next. The Rocket pick is next. But it becomes the Thunder pick because it falls outside the top 4. So the Rocket pick goes over to the Thunder. That means in this top 10, Dave, the Thunder will have 2 picks. Where does the other one fall? Rockets are going like, holy shit, for James Harden and everything, we got later first rounds, but we got no first rounders in the lottery. How the hell did this happen?
Figure it out later, boys. We'll figure it out later.
If the Thunder are at 5, who are you taking? Because the way with the Magic question you just asked, I can see the team after the Thunder trading up. But the first question I will ask is if Mobley is on the board, like, no, not Mobley. If Kuminga is on the board like he is he automatically a pick for the Thunder at 5, or do they go somewhere else?
I mean, the problem is, like, my heart tells me one thing, but OKC, what do they do, Ricky? They take the raw, they take the athletic, they love them, they worship them, they build them up. I 100% think that they would love to get someone like Jonathan Kuminga on this roster. I don't love the pick, but I think that is what the Thunder would do here. I have a lot of other guys on my board ahead of him.
Yeah.
I think he's still a raw product, but his age is his benefit. Remember, he is one of the youngest in the class. I think he would be a bit of a reach here because I think there's safer players who still have higher upside than him, or if not as high upside as him.
Yeah.
But I think that would be the pick that they would go with here.
So you're locking in Kuminga at
I am.
5. Okay. For me, I don't know. To me, and yet again, blog boys are different than Sam Presti. The way you mapped it out, Kuminga sounds like a Thunder pick. Like, full of potential, long boy, like you said. I look at it and I go, all the blog sites for the Thunder that I see are really harping on if they don't get a top like 1, 2, 3 pick, like their pick isn't that high. Like people are shouting Moses Moody to the Thunder, Scotty Barnes to the Thunder. Those are probably the biggest two that I've seen. Kind of be like, yes, these guys would be great. However, would you take a Moses Moody or a Scotty Barnes over Jonathan Kuminga? I don't know if I know in most people, I'm going to say this, most people are down on Kuminga. When I heard you and Jake, the first time I heard you guys say, oh, we're down on Kuminga, I was like, wait, what? With all that potential? Like, I get that he's not, like, I could see him not as high as JG4, Mobley, Cunningham, maybe even Suggs, but like, after the top 4, he becomes BPA.
For a lot of people.
Yet again, the only pick I would think about here is Scotty Barnes, but you're the Thunder. Are you looking for potential, or do you want someone that's going to help you win now sooner?
I think they've got a couple guys who can do similar things to Scotty Barnes that are further along than Scotty Barnes. I think they've got a lot of bigger wings that they have really good connections with in high hopes. So I don't think that he fills a need that they have, and I don't know that he'll be that much better as far as a developmental prospect than these guys. That's the problem. Like, they have so many shots to hit the right guys, and I think they feel pretty good. I don't know if any of these guys are stars, but I think they've all proven that they are, at least, role player plus, potentially starters on a lot of teams. So I'm on the side of no to going with him. I don't think I would do it.
Then this answers your Magic question, Dave. If Kuminga, like both of us, because I'll agree, I'll lock in Kuminga too. I'm not going to be bold and reach for Moses Moody would be the one I would reach for, and I don't know if I'm reaching that far. Well, no, Kuminga's the BPA in my mind. Like that's the thing, and I feel like the Thunder are not a team where they're like, yeah, we need someone to help us win right now. Dave, they have numerous draft picks. The future is anything. They moneyball this situation if they want to. To answer your Magic question, then no, I would not trade. Like, the biggest harp in this order is the Thunder. If they were going to take Kuminga, I wouldn't do it, because the Thunder, if I'm not going Evan Mobley, the next person I would probably want is Kuminga because of that potential. Plus, he kind of fits in my mind the long boy wing that can go out there. Because Dave, at 6, there's a team at 6 that would love Evan Mobley, and that's the Washington Wizards.
Oh, absolutely.
So like if I could do a trade and basically do what maybe the Hawks and Mavs did of like, we'll give you the 4, you give us the 6th, and then your future first next year. All right, let's get that done. Magic get another first on top of the Bulls next year. They get the Bulls and the Wizards first. The Wizards would move up to 4, take Mobley. But yet again, if I'm the Magic, if Kuminga's off the board, is there still someone there that you would want? I don't know if it's worth the giving up Evan Mobley for. You know what I'm saying?
No, I agree. Unless you're getting a King's ransom, it ain't worth it.
The Wizards then, where do they go? Because to me, Evan Mobley would be the cash prize for them. Like we were mocking. I was a Onyeka Okongwu in their final mocks. Like, give me that big that can play defense. Like, where do you go? BPA right now is what, Jalen Johnson or Scotty Barnes?
For a lot of people, yes. I, on the other hand, am not like,
no.
This would be where I would veer off course from everybody and take Sengun. Like,
okay,
he is young, center, playing in Europe, putting up great numbers. He has what seems like a really good touch from short range. He's got a little bit of a shot. It's not quite like the point where I want him taking 5 threes a game or anything, but like, I think there's hope that he can expand that shot outwards. I think he's got good foot speed as far as being a center. I think that he will be able to adapt at the NBA level. I think this is probably like the next, guy who's going to be a solid center for 10 years. I think he could be, one of those guys who puts up like 20 and 10 at the NBA level. And again, he is extremely young. We're talking about another 18-year-old here.
Yeah. If I'm the Wizards right now, like, the thing is, you have been trying to work a trade at this point with the Magic, with the Bulls. Like, you're trying to get up in this because, like, to me, I don't really like this spot for the Wizards. I'll be completely honest with you because, like, the two things I would look at for the Wizards, and maybe I'm wrong. Number one, defensive big or a big in general. Last year, like I said, you look at our end of the year mock drafts, mine especially when we knew the order was locked, Onyeka Okongwu I had falling to them, to where I was like, he would be the perfect pick for them. So, like, obviously Mobley then would be the perfect pick because last year they went with Denny. They didn't go with the big that we thought they would go with. But, like, other than a big, the other thing I would think about is, and I'll ask you, what do you think is the future of Russ and Beal moving forward? I'm not saying that Beal gets traded. I think if any of them get moved, they try to move Russ first, even though people say that's impossible. It's like, in your mind, is that future just done deal until Russ's contract runs out? Because I would think that Beal, they would want to re-sign him and keep him.
Well, Beal is on the contract. His extension starts next season,
right.
I believe.
You're right. I forgot about that. So
they got plenty of time on that. No, my concern is really just like, if you're not going to land a top, again, is a center worth draft value at 5 here for someone like saying, I'm sorry, at 6.
Yeah.
Right? Wizard 6.
Yeah.
I like Sengun. I think that he might be worth it. The only other guy I would consider this high up for them would be that potential, ball handler replacement out there with John Wall, would be Josh Giddey.
Oh, okay.
I like the idea of a big wing with ball handling tendencies. I think the Lonzo Ball experiment has played out really well. Not Lonzo, LaMelo Ball experiment from the played out really well. And I think that this gives them another option moving forward because it's very clear that their coach is just mentally handicapped out there. Like, his rotations are dreadful. The way he tries to use his draft picks on the court. Like, I am physically in pain from watching one of my favorite players last year overseas. And now they're like, you're a spot up shooter in the corner. And I'm like, have you ever seen him play before? Like, ever?
I doubt he had, Dave.
Denny is not Denny anymore, apparently. Don't worry about that. I think that they're going to replace their coach. I think that if you give them Josh Giddey, that gives them an incredibly big lineup that they could roll with, and I would love it. Now, a lot of people be like, well, isn't that a reach on Giddey? And I would say, you may say that today. I don't believe so. If you give me a 6'8" ball handler who can average, 15, 6 and 6 at the NBA level, I'm talking like Evan Turner with a shot. Like, that's very valuable. Yeah. That is very valuable. And I think that he could keep growing. The 6'8" is reportedly barefoot too. So there you go. He's 6'9" on the court. Like, for all those people who are all whatever about barefoot. And he's still 18. So again, I'm going youth. I'm going with another ball handler because if I've learned nothing from watching the Nets, you can't have too many ball handlers. That's never the problem. Now, can you have people who fail because they can't work off ball? Absolutely. But the problem isn't ball handlers itself. So I would be thrilled to see someone like him play on this team. And again, I just think he's incredibly talented and has a ton of potential. Now, let's hear your take on this. Am I left field here? Like, I'm not mocking Euro and an Australian player.
This feeds into the Dave Oster draft method, where we all know that Dave early on dives into the Euros and the international pool. We know me. I dive into the college pool first, and then eventually I get to the international pool. Like, for me, Giddey's not high because I have not dove into enough of his tape to have that opinion to where, like, if I would put him this high, it would be me trying to be Chad Ford and try to blow smoke out my ass, and I'm not going to do that to you guys.
What about the Ringer guys putting Killian Hayes at 1? Like,
just to put him at 1. Just to put
last year, I swear they were just
we're so cool and hip.
It was a fucking dare. Like, Killian Hayes by far best person in this draft. Yeah. And I was like, could be, but I haven't seen shit. Why?
Like,
he's not even the best European point guard.
Yeah. If I'm not going center here, like if I'm not going Sengun like you did, guard depth is what I'm going with, because I also look at I think that's where I lock in, because I look at it and I go, all three of their point guards behind Russ are free agents. Now, do they bring some of them back? Maybe, but they don't.
Freedom.
They don't have technically any shooting guards behind the and he's even a free agent this year behind Bradley Beal. So like for me, I would love to put like a Book Knight or a Duarte from Oregon.
Whoa.
Maybe, potential.
Is he a top 10 pick now, Ricky?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying just based off of like if I'm looking for guards.
That's your positional rankings? Yeah. Okay.
But I'm not taking Duarte that high. Book Knight, maybe, but I would probably go like Moses Moody. If I'm targeting that over center, then Moses Moody would be my guy, even though I'm not completely like that hooked in on it, because as we've talked about Moody, we talked about it on Tuesday. It's like everything he does off the stat sheet, he's a true eye test is what we've called him. Yeah. Like, do you want that if you're the Wizards, or do you want somebody who is going to make an impact right away and can show you on the stat sheet that he's making an impact?
I mean, also, do you think that you can correct some of the flaws he does have as far as shot and finishing at the rim?
Yeah.
Like,
with a new coach, with a new coach, you could, but are they going to get rid of Scotty Brooks?
I'm going with the assumption that they're going to end up with a new coach. I don't think they can continue on this way with two all-star caliber players and this many young top picks and still be this bad. I don't think it's possible.
4 more picks. The next one, the Cleveland Cavaliers at 7, Dave.
Okay.
Well, they have liked a higher pick.
Last year, they took someone at the top of the draft, and Isaac Okoro, who I completely dumpstered on them for. Kid can't shoot. He plays great defense.
Was it worse than the Obi Toppin pick, though?
Both were bad. Both were bad. But no, like, again, you try to get the guy who's going to fit next to your superstars and be that defensive stopper. And maybe if he learns to play offense, they've got crazy dreams of him being the next Jimmy Butler. Sure, go ahead and have that dream. I will not tell you to not, but I'm just saying that's like me saying I'm going to be Jimmy Butler. We're a long ways away from that.
Butler is your father.
So and again, they gave away Kevin Porter Jr. for basically free because, they treated him poorly, did not support him as a person, and didn't work with him. So this is not a great organization. Yeah. They have 2 really intriguing guards who I think we all want to continue to watch them grow. So we go ahead and look at the wing. Yeah. So if we're staring at top wings in this draft, I think Larry Nance is the heart and soul of this team. I think that they need to go ahead and get someone behind him who can continue doing that. Taurean Prince is not that guy. Nope. He's a great stopgap player, but I think
Kevin Love needs to be freed.
Yeah, I think you have to go after Barnes at this point. I think he would be my BPA left, and I think he fits exactly what they need as a team. Yeah, I feel good about getting Barnes here.
We're going same position forward. Scotty Barnes, I thought about it, but I'm going maybe a little shock value here because he had a shocking decision mid-season, Dave.
Oh, really?
I'm going Jalen Johnson over Scotty Barnes. Now, I mean, the question is, and yet again, combine tape, all these interviews and stuff.
The workouts, they're going to allow it.
Yeah. Combine if it happens. Because
I think by then these players will have the vaccine. Yeah. So I'm feeling like combine and team workouts will happen because we're talking about teams getting vaccinated already. So
side question, does Summer League happen?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And Dave's like, yes, we're going.
And we are going. I will buy tickets the day it's announced, Ricky. I am there, and there's not even a doubt in my mind. You're getting the shot soon. I'm going to get the shot soon. We're going.
I've got my appointment set. I'm getting it tomorrow. Dose 1 tomorrow. But, I mean, it's the same thing as you. I'm looking more like the 4, and that's the thing. Like Scotty Barnes and maybe even Jalen Johnson, wing. 4-3, you're just looking for a wing out there. I would look more towards the 4. I'm going and yet again, that's a pick. Maybe if we were doing trades, there would be a trade here. So I think Ricky, I would trade back.
I have to ask this.
Yeah.
Ask this.
Yeah.
I just spoke about this organization, and you're taking a guy who has been rumored to have issues and walk down on his team and high school.
Oh, I know.
Had issues and walked out on his team in college.
Not in love
had
with it,
issues
Dave.
And walked out on his team in AAU.
Not in love with it, Dave. Not my
Incredibly
best
talented player. I will not argue that he has upside. Like literally, if he had played the season and he had done well, 100% think that he would be like a top 3 pick.
Yeah.
He has that kind of crazy good potential. But man, the character concerns here are off the fucking charts, and this is the wrong team to deal with it. They clearly are the wrong team to deal with it. That's my thing. I'm saying he might be the best player available at this point, but he will not be the best player if he's on the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Like, I'm not in love with it, but like, the true thing I'd want to do here, if it was like, if we were allowing it, but we're not,
trades.
I would trade back. Like, to me,
I understand, and I agree.
I would try to get draft capital because, like, even in this situation, it would kind of be like I'm taking a crapshoot. I would rather trade back, get somebody that like I can be confident with later, and get more draft capital in the future. David 8. We already made one pick for them. We both went with Jonathan Kuminga. The Thunder, pick number 2 at 8. Who do they go with after going Wang at 5?
Pick 2 for the Thunder here. Now, I want to do one of 2 routes, man. Yeah. And they're both very close. Mm-hmm. Like, I've got 2 guys on my board, one younger than the other, but the older guy's definitely more established and is a better player today. Mm-hmm. Now, to me, it comes down to pairing.
Yeah.
And I think the perfect pairing would be Jared Butler here.
Ooh,
going to the Thunder. I think he's a perfect guy to come in and work with Shea. I think that he and Shea would be, just an upgraded version of what we saw at Baylor in college. Yes. And I think he's ready to take the next step. Yeah. I think a lot of people are putting Davion Mitchell ahead of him based on the tournament and their perception of his impact on the court. Those numbers are small compared to his impact on the game. And I understand for a lot of guys, but I truly believe Jared Butler is the better player. And I think that him on the Thunder comes in as an instant impact starter. Mm-hmm. I think that you see day one, you see Shea, you see him, and then you can have these death lineups with he and Lou Dort out there together. The way good fucking luck. Like that is, I love the idea of this Thunder team. Again, the other guy who I was talking about was Jaden Springer, who I like. And then you could flip a coin if you also, I know again, Keon Johnson, someone who people have graded higher than him. I am the other side of that. I think that I would rather have Springer and Butler over Davion and Keon Johnson. Yeah. My opinions are opinions, though.
Yeah. With me, it's interesting you say Jared Butler because in everything that I've read, the Thunder blog boys have mentioned who you said, Davion Mitchell. Is that like, ooh, he could be the guy if we fall back, if we're in the 5 to 8 range, or 6 to 8 range, I should say. With me, my pick became easier because you had him off the board. I have him fall one because of what the Cavs did. Scotty Barnes. It's just Scotty. Like, it's one of those things where you're looking at it and it's like, okay, we took Kuminga on the wing. We're just going to double up on that wing 4 area and just get more wings. Like, that's, if we have learned anything in draft processes, you can't lose with more wings. More wing talent is never bad. Never bad.
And they can move on from those pieces that they have right now. Like, they're doing a great job developing them, but there's nothing to say that they have to be attached at the hip to these players moving forward. So I'd have no problem if they went there. Yeah.
Dave, number 9, the Tampa Bay Raptors. Soon to be the Toronto Raptors again. If Canada can get their shit together, JD, that one's for you. Who do they go with, Dave? And is it Corey Kispert? Like everyone in existence wants to put them.
Why the actual fuck would anyone want to give this team Corey Kispert? That makes no sense to me. I honestly would have loved if someone like Giddey were still here on my board. Yeah. This would be a fucking no-brainer jam. That Ricky, your answer. What do you do on draft night? You're gonna run it up there. That would be that moment. Podium, but no, he's gone. So I have to refer to my big board, and I'm going, okay. So next best player, Kai Jones. I would go Kai Jones here. I would take the upside hit on a center. I think they've obviously got a desperate need for center. I like Dad Vanderleet as my point guard right now. I think they've got enough guys with Gary Trent Jr., OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam. I think Kai Jones is the guy here, and I know people are like, but he didn't play center in college. I don't give a fuck. The dude's got size. He's got athleticism. And I do see him moving forward.
He's a forward center. He could play either.
Yeah. I see him moving forward. And again, this is I'm not also 100% in on Pascal Siakam. Yeah. Like, this is the guy who could be better than Pascal Siakam. There's a lot of similarities people want to read into. I think it just comes down to, if you're not sold on someone like that and you have a massive open on your team, Kai Jones has some of the highest upside in this draft. And people love the athleticism. People love the size. People love the handle. Obviously, his shot, he's got a good shooting motion. He just makes a lot of mistakes. Yeah. He needs play time. He needs a lot of run on the court with a great head coach and a great development system. This is the perfect marriage for him. That's why I picked him there. I looked at Jalen Johnson and went, not so fast. Yeah, I looked at Jaden Springer and went, I don't think they need you right now. I think that this is Moses Moody. Same thing. I think he'd be good, but I don't think they would go for him. I think that they would want Kai Jones in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I almost went with the guard, because you look at this team.
You absolutely could.
Like, you look at this team, and contract-wise, Gary Trent Jr. is an RFA.
Yep.
So are they going to give him the money? Will someone else offer him money and they'll let him walk? You also got Dad Lowry. Or not Dad Lowry, that's Dad Van Vliet. Yeah. Kyle Lowry. He's gone. Right. He's leaving. He's gone. Like, I don't think he comes back. He'll sign somewhere else and get his contract, try to chase a ring with a team. I almost wanted to put James Bouknight here, Dave. I almost wanted to do that because that would be interesting. But I look like hearing you talk about the bigs on this team. I scrolled down to center. And even though I love Aaron Baines, I'm a Baines trained guy. He is a non-guaranteed $7.3 million contract, which usually means we're going to waive you if we have to. And we're going to waive you to bring someone else in. Even though I have not dove into this guy's film as much as you did, you had him at 6. No. Yeah, you had him at 6. I can't have the Raptors pass up on him because I feel like it's either center or a guard depth here, and that's why I'm going with Segun. Like, and yet again, with me, it would be more of the you thing because you've dove into more film. If he would even be a good fit with the Raptors with Pascal.
He's young, and all you need to know is he's young, he's going against grown men, and he's playing at the top of the league. Okay. Like, those three things combined, like I said, decent shot, will learn to grow that shot over time. Yeah. But in the meantime, he can play. He can flat out play.
I just couldn't pass it up there. I couldn't be like, oh, international, I have to pass him up. No, I can't. And then Dave, to round everything out, a team that we love, a team that we thought would be having a fire sale at the trade deadline. They did nothing. Sacramento Kings.
This is where shit gets weird. Like, I don't... Who do you get rid of on this team? Because I love Rashawn Holmes. I think he is one of the better players this year. I love Harrison Barnes. Same thing. Flew under the radar for the majority of the year. Great player. Buddy Hield, great shooter. Doesn't bring much else to the table. Halliburton, perhaps the steal of the draft. Should be up in the top 2 voting for Rookie of the Year. And then De'Aaron Fox, just a fucking stud at point guard. Like, they have a lineup that in theory should work. It doesn't. You need to change. You need to bring change to this lineup. How do you do that? I need a big to help me out. And I know this yet again. Every reason I've said to not do this. At this point, Jalen Johnson goes.
Okay.
I can't not take Jalen Johnson. I don't want to.
I thought when you said I've spoke against this, my mind went to, is he putting Kispert in the top 10?
No. You see where Kispert's on my big board, Ricky.
I didn't see where he was there. I didn't look. Okay, 25. That's kind of low. That's lower than a lot of people. Not saying that's wrong, but that's I like that. I like lower than a lot of people. I like the differences. Yeah, I mean, I almost want Kai Jones here, to be honest with you. Same thing with you, like looking for that, because Bagley's not the answer. Holmes is. Maybe pairing a Kai Jones with Holmes would work, like you pairing a Jalen Johnson with a Holmes. Is Luke Walton the right coach for Jalen Johnson, though?
Well, Luke Walton's a shit coach regardless. I don't think that really matters. But
Really,
I do
Alvin Gentry is the right coach for Jalen Johnson. That's what I'm saying.
there's an equally bad chance. I just think that Jalen Johnson, talent-wise, at this point, you look at the concerns about his personality.
Yeah.
If he doesn't punch someone out or walk out on your interview, you're probably going to take him at this point. You're like, he's got
better than what I've seen in college.
He's a good player with incredible upside for his size. He's got above average ball handle skills because he used to be a point guard growing up. Like, he checks all the boxes for wing of the future. His shot from the outside is not consistent, so you're gonna have to work with him on his shot. But I think a lot of this is just going to be like, you have the raw tools. Now let's make it work. Yeah. The problem is that he can't be the centerpiece of the team. The great thing is you don't need him to be the centerpiece of the team. You have two incredibly gifted guards out there who can fucking take over games. You've got great shooters on the outside. You've got the ultimate glue guy in Harrison Barnes already. You just need someone to fucking come and elevate that group up. And I think he could be that future piece.
So I'm going a little bit different from you. You're going more of a guy that would be at the 4 spot. I'm going more of shooting from the 3. Give me more of it, even though he missed the most important shot of his college career, Dave.
You're not.
Franz Wagner. Like,
okay.
I almost put Kai Jones here because Kai at the 4 next to Holmes, but like, there is a possibility that, like, yet again, if you draft Franz here, is it a Tyrese Halliburton situation where it's like, in free agency, we'll attack the Bagley hole that we're going to have because fuck Bagley is out of here. He's not starting. We'll get someone to fill him in. And then you have Franz be the backup, like on the second unit, like you had Halliburton be for most of this year. Or is it, hey, we can have a Franz out there. Do they trade Buddy Hield and then Halliburton's out there and they get a new 3 and Franz is in the second unit? Like, this team has a lot that they can work with.
Harrison Barnes light?
I'm saying, or do you push Barnes to the 4 and then you have Franz at the 3?
For a lot.
I know he can. Like, that's the thing.
He can tweener. He is a 3 or a 4. So like, I'm just saying, like, do you see that out of him? Like, do you see him in the same mold of someone who could play similar to Harrison Barnes, someone who plays good defense, who can hit shots, who should not be taking the last shot of a game?
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's the thing. Like, that's the thing where he's never going to be. I mean, I guess you're right. Kind of like Harrison Barnes. He can play good defense. He can shoot from 3. He's never going to be the leading scorer on your team. That's more of a De'Aaron Fox and a Buddy Hield type of situation. Hell, even of a Halliburton, if you got more minutes with it, because he has scoring potential as well. I just like the defense in the 3-point. Like, that's the thing where it's like, I feel like people are going to harp on Franz for that last shot. I think he's going to be a good player. If it's him or Kispert, I'm taking Franz.
I would agree with you.
Who knows? Like, who knows with this top 10? Because, like, yet again, a lot of things are going to change the more you dive in. To recap everything, Dave and I, top 5 exact same. So, Wolves go with Cade Cunningham. Pistons go with JG4. Bulls went with Jalen Suggs. Mobley went to the Magic. Thunder at 5 go Kuminga. From 6 on, we were all different. Wizards for me took Moody. Dave goes with Segun. Cavs, I took Jalen Johnson. Dave took Scotty Barnes. Thunder at 8, I go Scotty Barnes. Dave went Jared Butler. Raptors, I went with Segun. Dave went with Kai Jones. And then at 10, the Kings. I'm taking Franz Wagner. Dave is going with Jalen Johnson. Dave, any final thoughts on anything before we wrap this up?
No, it felt good. I really wanted to just keep going, but that's not the show.
Maybe we'll continue, because, I mean, after this, pretty much, like, I wrote down what the rest of the order is, so maybe in the future we pick it up with, like, a me and you or you and Jake or someone, and we do the next 10. And we do that kind of a situation. But that's going to do it for MVP Sports Live today. Thank you guys for giving us a little bit of your time. Remember, join the Discord if you're not in it already. Greatest community in the universe. Link is down below, or !Discord into Twitch chat gets you that link. If you want to support us, patreon.com/MVPvids gets you. Well, that's how you support us if you want to. See, Soapy, I can be cringy too. It's not just you. You can also throw us a sub on Twitch at twitch.tv/MVPvids. We were live every Monday through Friday We're also on YouTube at NVP Sports. We will be back next week. Brand new schedule, brand new days of what we're going to be talking about each day and who's going to be on it. So stay tuned for what we got going next week. But as always, have a good day, everybody.
WPN.